All right. Now, next up, it's anime time. Now, Rick, you know I like my fighting anime. I like
And
my
you,
fighting, my manime,
Manime, that's great.
my fighting May,
Or
and
is that
my
called?
and Lady
Fistame. Fistame.
May, yeah. And Lady Fat Blood, my wife, she's all like, she saw the trailer for Garouden, The Way of the Lone Wolf. And she was like, oh, it's a baby May. It's right up your alley. She's like, baby, I found you a baby May. And I'm like, ooh. So we're going to get to that. And there's a reason why I wanted to talk about Baki, segue into Baki after this. I wanted to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I love the theme song. It's fire. The theme song is fire. The fight choreography is very surprisingly very grounded for a fighting May, for an anime. Very grounded in like in terms of, you know, as realistic as you can get. They were doing leg kicks, they're doing all this movement. I was like, oh, and it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, but it's not as realistic as you can get, believe me.
You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, I know what you
compared to Baki.
I've seen a lot of anime, martial arts anime, and this is not even close to as realistic as you can get. But
right.
this is the Fatame.
Yes.
This is Fatame, no question.
But compared to like Baki, where there's a character called Pickle, that he's an ancient caveman that can take out dinosaurs because he's that strong. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm comparing it to. But anyway, our lead here, you know, he's like one of the best in his school, and he, you know, there's an intruder in the dojo, and he used one of the special techniques to take out the intruder. He ends up killing him, and after that, he's like, "I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm ashamed. I didn't really want to do that." And so it's his journey and finding himself. Now, when you get to the ending, Rick, without spoiling it, I kind of expected it to happen, but because the character at some point seems distracted, because even his master looks at him at towards the end, and he's looking at him differently, like he's not focused, you know, because the whole show he's just I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do anything.
He still doesn't at the end.
Right. So it's kind of like I kind of expected the ending to be the way it was. But when I went up on IMDb, I was reading comments. So many people hate the ending. They hate it. And I was kind of like, well, I kind of expected it to be that. And there's going to be more. So they're setting up something. So, Rick, what do you think about The Way of the Lone Wolf?
Well, you alerted me to this because originally I was just going to do Baki because Baki came out in June on Netflix. You told me about Garouden, and I said, but it came out in May. But then you intrigued me with it, so I watched it, and I said, thank heaven, because that is the more fulfilled. It turns out that the Baki, we have Baki versus Kengan, which we're talking about next, and also Garouden is a 6 or 8 episode show.
Yeah, it's not long. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Baki is a 1 hour and 2 minute. I love the fact that it was 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it turns out, I found out later that this is a movie ending to that story because there were 2 previous television series of Baki of 39 episodes each.
Yes.
Which establishes it more, and it was better. Baki versus Kengan was just kind of like, oh, we got an extra $50, so we're going to put this movie together. Right. Garouden is much more cohesive. I really loved. I love animation, and I always remind people that animation is 2 things. It's the design of the characters, and the looks and the creation of the sets and animated sets. And it's also the actual animation, how characters move. And what's really cool about Garouden for me is that they'll do this kind of shot, which is it's a stance shot. And so they save the animation for the parts that require animation and keep it still. And also they use stylized, because they obviously didn't have a lot of money. Right. So rather than showing the blood, they have, if you go back to the poster again, no, not that, the poster. The streaks. You see those streaks? Because in the animation, those don't move. Those are just like lines on his face that turn out to be his blood and the other character's blood. And so Baki is cave paintings compared to Garouden. Garouden is very intelligent. However, it is muscles fighting. But what's great about Japanese martial arts is they openly admit that it's not an art per se. It's a discipline.
Mhm.
You know, the samurai stuff, karate stuff, jujitsu, it's only things like Aikido, which is more of an art. While the other stuff is they're teaching themselves to be more impressive and more powerful and more bushido.
Right.
So it's all very linear and all very, you know, strikes like that. And Garouden is fighting. It's all these super muscle, both of them, Baki and Garouden, are all these super ridiculously over muscled a-holes punching each other. I always go back to that great line that I think Ian Hendry says when he's playing Napoleon in Time Bandits. I like watching little people hit each other. I like them hitting each other. And there's no question the Garouden and Baki, yeah, if you like people hitting each other, you come to the right place. But the Japanese are so artistic, it's hard for them to make something bad. Because there's the thing that makes me love Baki more than Garouden. I admit that Garouden is better on a you know objective level.
Yeah.
But the thing I loved about Baki is that there's a sequence in the middle of the movie where they're all because basically it's these guys who arrange fights, putting together the new gang to make all this
organizations
money.
come together.
Both of them are like that, and they get the absolute best fighters, and they're all again, look at the muscles. They're all ridiculously muscled, and also they'll beat each other in such a way that normally would kill anyone. But of course, nobody, even though there are scenes of flesh ripping off bone and all the rest of it, nobody actually gets hurt. So that's another problem. However, there's a moment in Baki where two muscle-bound characters, where, you know, we have the one organizer versus the other organizer. You say, oh, wait, you know, Joey is coming. And the other one goes, oh, yeah, but wait, Tommy is coming too. So Joey and Tommy get there, and they have to wait through all these other fights of the main guys.
Yeah.
Both of them, Tommy and Johnny, which is not their actual names, have to go to the bathroom. They had too much to drink.
Yeah.
And so so one goes to the bathroom.
Right.
And he goes around the corner, and there's the hallway with the bathroom. And the other guy comes around the other hall, and they see each other. And they stop because they're going to fight. And they just stare at each other. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but the thing I love about it is they get under, it's psychological.
Yeah.
In other words, it's telling you the personality of these guys, which the fighting doesn't tell you. The fighting is just mindless, basically, and physiology-free video gaming kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what really nailed this show for me is at the very end, they have the credits. There's an after-credit scene of the two guys still in the hall.
Hands in pockets.
Hands in pockets going, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. And I went, oh, this is genius.
Yeah.
All I need is that. I want that as you know, a 2-second clip on my thing, my avatar. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. All you need to know about martial arts. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, but overall, I enjoyed the fight sequences.
Me too.
But
it's not great.
I have a nitpick. I have a nitpick. The lead character here, he won all of his fights almost the same way with armbar. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Have him win another way. Nope, armbar. He's beat the guy with an armbar. I'm like, oh. So I got a little repetitive, but
it's just like wrestling. It's just like WWE. You know, in other words, they have their finishing move.
Yeah.
So that's what the audience expects, because of course we enjoyed this from a Netflix standpoint, but the people in Japan know these characters.
Yeah.
And they want what they want. And
but back to Baki, the separate series, Kengan Ashura, I'm big fans of both. They're way more entertaining, better animation, fluid, really over the top, almost superhero like martial arts.
Absolutely.
But this was a fun little. It was a fun little like let's do this. What if they meet?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
I recommend both.
There you go. I do too. Especially if you're more like Phat than you are like me.
Yeah. Phat
you can still enjoy. If you don't, even if you're like me, you still will probably enjoy it because they're good.